Hello and welcome to another episode on this channel. It is another beautiful day, and of course, it's another day to discuss real estate or property law. And on today's episode, I want to talk about the contract of sale of land, or contract of sale with respect to land as against a title document. What is the difference between a contract of sale of land or and a title document? Because it's some confusion with respect to these two documents, and they are totally different things. And then it's important to note that a contract of sale of land is not a title document. So if you have that, that is one key thing you need to take away from this video, and I'm going to explain it, and you have to stay to the end of the video so that you understand the difference. And when you are transacting, you do not think or you not assume that when they sign a contract of sale agreement with you, it becomes or translates to a deed, to a title document. It isn't. There are times that it becomes necessary, so you have to stay to the end to watch and to understand what a contract of sale is all about. All right, and yeah, my name is Raymond Ijeomah, and I'm a real estate entrepreneur as well as a property lawyer here in Nigeria. Okay, so let's go right in. We intend not to spend so much time on this. It's just a pretty straightforward conversation, right? Okay, so you want to get a land, and you reach out to the owner of the land, and you're like, okay, I like this property, I want to buy it, and I'm offering 20 million naira, and the owner says no, or the real estate company says no, we're selling for 25, and they're like, okay, the buyer now says, okay, let's make it 23. And after all said and done, they're like, okay, we'll pay 23 million. And the buyer is like, okay, but you would have to please give us, say, 2 weeks or 1 month. We are interested in this property. Please, you are not going to have to sell it. We do not want to sell the property. We are very, very interested. But we would want to spend the next 2 weeks or 1 month to do investigation on this particular property to be sure that it is genuine, and that we are doing the right thing, right? And on the basis of that, we're not going to pay money now, or we'll pay a part of the payment to show some level of commitment. We'll make and then pay the balance after we're done with our investigation. So on that note, the parties decide to enter an agreement. But before then, what is a contract? Because like I said, it's a contract of sale agreement, contract of sale of land. What is a contract? A contract has 3 basic constituents. Number 1, the offer, the acceptance, and consideration, or with terms and conditions as the case may be, depending on to what extent the contract is going, right? So in that, from the picture I just painted, or scenario I just painted, you have him make an offer, and then the people accept, the buyer accepts, and then, okay, how much are we paying? What are the terms of our agreement? Okay, we're paying 10 million naira first, and then pay the balance after we're done with the investigation. And on the basis of that, what if we don't finish payments? What if there's a breach? If I don't finish payment at so point, or you don't get back to me after 1 month with the balance of payment, we refund you with some charges, and then we can now sell. And then in between that period, the seller agrees that he won't sell that land to another person. So on the basis of that, there comes a need for a contract of sale agreement, and that doesn't translate to a deed or a title document, right? It doesn't translate to a title document. It doesn't make the buyer the owner legally, right? And that is where you need to understand it critically, because the fact that they come together to sign doesn't make the only thing it does is that it establishes a contract between both parties with clear terms and conditions and how they are going to transact moving forward over a period of time. All right. So in as much as there is on the document there's a designated buyer and there's a designated seller, it doesn't make that document become or translate to a title document, right? It is at best a foundation leading to the preparation or the eventual transfer of that particular document, transfer of that particular property to the buyer, right? So after so the example I just gave and a number of other factors necessitates the reason behind preparing a contract of sale of land. It is not a very common document, but it is important for transactions like this. So for instance, a client reached out to me this morning and from Facebook and wanted a title document to be prepared for him for a land he had paid part, made payment for, part payment for, and because of that, this kind of transaction could necessitate, and then he wishes to pay up the balance before December 2021, and on the basis of that, that could necessitate a contract of sale agreement, a contract of sale of land, a contract of sale of land, right? And alternatively, there could be a, depending on the relationship with the parties, and of course depending on the type and the kind of transaction, the amount involved, type of properties and all of that. So basically there are a number of circumstances that could necessitate the need for a contract of sale. But the point I need you to understand very clearly is that a contract of sale doesn't translate, a contract of sale of land doesn't translate to a title document. It is after the terms and conditions stated in this contract of sale agreement, contract of sale of land, contract of sale of land, that the need for, or the conditions, after the fulfillment of the conditions in the contract of sale, then the parties can now put pen to paper, put content to paper, and then sign it, transferring title officially to the buyer. And that is when the title document now comes into play. I'm sure you understand it. So you do not have to, yes, if there's a breach, then parties have right. That's the entire essence of a contract. If there's a breach, that's the essence. Because if you leave everything to chance, you're like, okay, word of mouth, okay, want to buy the property, and just give us 2 weeks, we'll get back to you, let us go and do investigation, and nothing is done. At that point, there's no contract. They can decide to sell. If they get the better offer tomorrow, they can decide to sell it, right? But for when in the situation where you have prepared the contract of sale of land, even if and you are buying for 20, like I said, you're buying for 23 million naira. Even if they get an offer for 30 million naira tomorrow, if they breach that agreement, if they go ahead to sell to that person, there's a breach, and because there's a breach, then there are consequences, damages as it were, right? So it is the reason. Usually, it is best for it just protects both parties. Right, it protects both parties, because the seller can decide to say, okay, we're no longer interested, and not because of any fault, or maybe the property is not, everything is legit, everything is genuine, and then the buyer decides that we're not interested. The seller could as well say, you wasted my time, right? You shouldn't have done it. You wasted my time. Literally, I would have sold this property to so person, and we missed it because we were banking on the fact that you were going to buy the property on the basis of an agreement that we signed. So eventually, that also protects the rights of the seller. Okay, so it's two ways. Okay, so basically the point is, a contract of sale of land is not a title document, and it is the document that precedes, that comes before the title document. And then in fact, in property transactions generally, there's a contract stage and there's a conveyancing stage. The contract stage is that stage where parties are conversing, having conversations around how much, what are the terms, blah 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 and blah. Yeah, so it is on the basis of all that it is considered as a contract stage. It is after that stage that you move to the stage where you convey title, you transfer title to the buyer. So that is basically all you should know about a contract of sale of land as well as a title document with respect to their differences, their uses, their applications, when they are necessary, and when to use them. All right, so if you haven't subscribed to this channel, do it to subscribe. If you have any questions relating to what I just talked about, or maybe a narrative in the property law or real estate angle in Nigeria, do it to drop a comment or reach out to me on my WhatsApp line on the cover page, and do it to share this with a friend, anyone that would need it. And on that note, my name is Raymond Ijeomah. I'm a real estate entrepreneur as well as a property lawyer here in Nigeria, and bye bye.